It's time for UConn Husky Baseball. WHUS Sports presents UConn Husky Baseball. This sports presentation on WHUS is made possible in part through underwriting grants from the Villa Spirit Shop, Subway footlong sandwiches, Huskies Restaurant, Holiday Spirits, and 7-Eleven of Mansfield.
Good afternoon, everybody. Steve Tefft along with Harold Darak from J.O. Christian Field here in Storrs, and the game between UConn and Yale is just about to begin. And here's Harold Darak with a short Yale preview.
Okay, thank you very much. Yale's record was 6 wins and 3 losses after a Southern trip record of 5 wins and 3 losses. They're ranked number 6 in New England. They are led by second-year head coach Joe Bonanto, whose squad comes back with only 3 seniors and 6 freshmen, but they're pretty experienced. They have 11 players back who saw a lot of action last year. Guard is Mark Davis with a .351 batting average with 3 home runs and 30 RBIs. The back is Rich Deanna, Ron Darling, and the newcomer, freshman Joe Dufek, who between them batted about 400. When asked about how he thought his team would hit this year, Bonanto had this to say.
Hitting will be our strong point. Even though we lost Mark, and he was certainly very important to us, we've got most of our other players back, and they were all, most of them were freshmen last year, so I think that the year of maturity and experience has helped them. Down south, our team batting average was about 390, so it looks like we should be a fairly good hitting team.
For their pitching, we have Ron Darling back. Last year he was 3-2 with a 3.09 ERA. This year he is 4-1. But pitching today will be Joe Impagliazzo, who is 1-1. The staff has only 5 pitchers on it. They lost John Rogan due to football, and he had 6 of last year's 14 wins. Bonanto on his...
It's going to be our weak point. We don't have a lot of pitchers in numbers. But those pitchers that we have, such as Darling and Impagliazzo and another boy by the name of Mark Nikolowski, if we can stay away from injuries, I think our pitching staff should hold up.
Okay, the Yale starting lineup, it will be Rich Deanna in center field, Dylan Costello at first base, Ron Darling in right field, Joe Dufek, the left fielder, Steve Harrington at the DH, Jerry Harrington at second base, Tom Kokoska catching, Brian O'Connor at third base, Bob Brook at shortstop, and for the play-by-play, here's Steve Tefft.
Thank you, Harold Darak, and on the mound for UConn, Mark Winters, and his first pitch is high for a ball to Rich Deanna. We'll run down the rest of the UConn lineup when we get a chance. His second pitch is a fastball, low inside for ball 2. Winters, coming off a 4-0 shutout of the St. John's Redmen last Thursday, has 2 of the UConn's 3 wins this year. 2 wins, 1 loss, and an ERA of 1.23. Now the 2-0 pitch to Deanna is high for ball 3. Winters off to a bit of a wild start here early. First base for the Huskies will be Tom Capalvo. Mike Johnson, a second. A short will be Tally Noble, and the third, Jim Considine. As Winters throws his 4th straight ball and walks Rich Deanna to lead off the ball game.
Deanna's batting 429. He had 3 home runs down south, so he's been hitting pretty well as of late.
The outfield for the Huskies, left to right, John Gallick, Joe Vincente, and Kevin Trahan. The DH is Mike Panciera, and on the mound, as we mentioned, Mark Winters. Has a man, Deanna on first, nobody out, the bottom, now Dan Costello. And Winters throws leisurely over to first, and Deanna gets back easily.
This is Yale's 2nd consecutive year they had a winning season down south. Last year they were 7th in the Ivy League, and they finished 4 games behind Navy.
Good move this time as Deanna diving back to first base, but he's safe again. So Winters has yet to throw a pitch to Costello. Dan Costello, the first baseman for the Yale Bulldogs today, a left-handed batter. As Yale has their lineup stacked with righties against Winters. Another move to first, and Deanna is back again. Right now, let's pause 5 seconds for a station identification. You're listening to UConn Husky Baseball from J.O. Christian Field in Storrs.
WHUS, Storrs, Connecticut.
Beautiful day for a baseball game. Not a cloud in the sky, a bit on the chilly side. And now squaring to Bonus Costello. The pitch rides in for a strike. And the count goes to 0-1 on Dan Costello.
Joe Bonanto, as coach of Yale, really stresses the fundamentals. I won't be surprised to see a lot of bunting, a lot of trying to move that man over to second base, and maybe a squeeze play here or there.
Winters stretches, throws to first, and almost has Deanna leaning the wrong way, but he gets back safely again. 4 times now, Mark Winters has thrown over to keep Rich Deanna close to the bag. 0-1 the count on Dan Costello. We're in the top of the first inning. No score as of yet. Squaring is Costello. Bunts toward the mound. Out to get it. Winters looks at second. Throws to first as the sacrifice works. And Deanna moves down to second. Score that play 1-2-4 as Mike Johnson covered at first base, and Deanna is on second with one out. At the plate now, Ron Darling, the right fielder for the Yale Bulldogs, and he is just about Mr. Everything for the Bulldogs so far this year.
Right now he's batting .464. He's a pitcher also, a record of 4 wins and 1 loss. Darling is, as you said, Steve, Mr. Everything.
Deanna leads. Winners pitches. Long drive, deep left field. Back going left field to Darak. Back near the fence. He's watching it, and it's out of here. A towering home run for Ron Darling as he jumped on a high inside fastball by Mark Winners. And very quickly, the Yale Bulldogs had a 2-0 lead. And he keel-hauled that one out.
He sure as heck did. Of course, Yale, known for their hitting, not much known for their pitching. We asked Benito how good he thought his team would be this year, what were his chances for an Ivy League championship, and he had this to say.
I think our team is going to be as good as our pitching and our defense, even though I think we'll score some runs. The good teams all have good pitching and good defense. Ron Darling is an excellent pitcher. He also plays the outfield when he doesn't pitch. He's batting over 500 right now. And we've got Rich Diana in center field, who is right now hitting around .428. We've got a freshman by the name of Joe Dufek in left field, who's helped us a great deal, and another freshman at shortstop, Bob Brook. Both of these boys are going to pick up some of the slack of the seniors that we lost last year. I think right now that we have the potential to be a fairly decent team this year. As far as the Ivy League championship is concerned, we'll have to wait and see. I think perhaps this year we could do some damage in the league, but I really think that next year might be the year that will be our best year.
Ball 4 rides into the cleanup hitter, Joe Dufek, so Mark Winners off to a very shaky start early in the ball game, and out to talk to him very quickly is Coach Andy Baylock. Winters has not looked anything like the pitcher we saw last Thursday, Harold.
Well, Winters is having his problems with control, and when he does get it across, well, the Yale's been bombing him. Ron Darling with a 2-run homer, and they are up in front right now by a score of 2-0. And I'm sure Andy Baylock has a little bit cause for concern when your best pitcher is getting bombed here and there. You have to look and see what you're going to do. He's going to have a lot of games coming up. He's going to be playing Yale tomorrow and Maine in a doubleheader Saturday, and Winters and then most of the Husky pitching is going to be heavily relied upon in those games.
The ball caught the inside corner, strike 2 called. The Huskies have yet to lose at home this year. They won their first 2 home games, 4-0 over St. John's and 10-5 in a comeback effort against Iona on Saturday. Now Harrington check swing and a foul ball over our heads, and the count holds at 0-2. Top of the first inning, 1 out. Yale off to a quick 2-0 lead on the strength of a 2-run home run by Ron Darling. Winners stretches and pitches. High and away with the curveball, ball 1. Joe Dufek on first base with a walk. Winters' second walk of the game. And now the 1-2 pitch, weak swing and a miss, strike 3 on Steve Harrington. So Winters has his first out, rather the second out of the first inning.
Now batting for second baseman, number 2, Jerry.
Next at the plate, Jerry Harrington, the second baseman for the Bulldogs. 2 outs, 2-0 Yale, top of the first inning. Swing and a miss on a high fastball. It might have been out of the strike zone. 0-1 on Harrington. Steve and Jerry Harrington, I believe, are brothers, are they not, Harold?
Yes, they are. They both come from South Kingston, Rhode Island. They both went to Phillips Andover Academy.
Dufek with a long lead off first. Winners stretches and pitches high and away with the curveball. Ball 1, count evens up at 1-1.
Last year, Jerry Harrington was a regular. He batted .326, playing the second base position. He had 29 hits and 89 at-bats.
The stretch and the pitch. A high foul, Scott off first base. Capalvo in foul territory has room and has the baseball for out number 3. So a shaky first inning for Mark Winners as he gives up 1 hit, 2 runs. The 1 hit, a long home run by Ron Darling. So after the top half of the first inning, it's Yale 2, UConn coming to bat, and we'll keep it right here, and we'll tell you a little more about the Yale Bulldogs.
Yale Bulldogs, as we said earlier, the record is 6 wins and 3 losses. They've beaten Eckerd, George Mason, American University. They beat Georgetown twice, and Quinnipiac in their only game up north. They've lost to a tough Georgia South, Virginia, and Maryland squads, and they beat the Philadelphia Phillies Farm Club in a pair of exhibition games. This is personally Joe Benito's first meeting against UConn. Last year it was rained out, and there was a whole mess of of problems trying to reschedule that game, and so they just cut it completely from their lineup. When asked to speak about the Huskies and the Eli's chances for a win, Bonanto said,
Well, I think UConn is always a fine baseball team. They still have two pretty good pitchers back in, I guess, Winters and Law. So that I think they're going to have the experienced pitching to go against us. We weren't really around when they were down south, and I don't know how they were doing, but I understand they lost some very close ball games, 3-2, 2-1. So it shows that their pitching is still strong. And it's going to be whether or not we can come up and hit their pitching. That's going to be the key, I think, in Monday's ball game.
Of course, the game was scheduled for yesterday, and it was rained out too today. We'll set the defense for the Yale Bulldogs. In the infield, it will be first baseman Dan Costello. At second, it will be Jerry Harrington. At shortstop, the freshman Bob Brook. And at third base, Brian O'Connor. In the outfield, left field is Joe Dufek. Center fielder Rich Deanna, and the right fielder is Ron Darling. The pitcher with a record of 1 win and 1 loss is Joe Impagliazzo, and catching is Tom Kakaska.
And the batting lineup for the Huskies, Kevin Trahan leading off, playing right field. He's only batting 130. He hasn't played much so far this year. John Gallick batting second. Mike Johnson, the second baseman, batting third. Tom Capalbo playing first and batting fourth. Doug Elliott, who's been the surprise and the mainstay of the UConn catching corps this year, batting fifth. Jimmy Considine with a big home run against Iona, batting sixth. Vincente, Panciera, and Tally Noble make up the rest of the starting lineup. Now, Impagliazzo's first pitch is a fastball right down the middle for a strike one called. Impagliazzo, a right-handed pitcher, throwing to Trahan, a right-handed batter. Outfield is straight away and playing in a bit for Trahan. Curveball is low and outside, ball one.
Excuse me, see, if you're wondering why you haven't heard the name of Dennis Donovan, who is a mainstay in the Connecticut lineup, he will not be playing today or tomorrow due to a sore throat.
Impagliazzo throws, and Trahan taps it right back to the pitcher, over to first base, and one quick out for the Huskies.
Another thing we should note, the Yale team has already discussed this with UConn and the umpires. They're going to be using 3 pitchers today for 3 innings each, and the rule of you have to go 5 innings is going to be abolished, and instead it's going to be the pitcher of record who gets the win. So you don't have to go 5 innings today for Yale with an agreement before the game.
At the plate, John Gallick, the left fielder for the Huskies, batting .371. He takes a high curveball from Impagliazzo, ball 1. Up there on the on-deck circle, Mike Johnson, who will bat third for the Huskies. Impagliazzo winds and throws. Fastball causes Gallick to jump away inside, and it gets past the catcher all the way back to the backstop. Ball 2. Outfield shifted around slightly toward the left for Gallick, as they expected he might pull Impagliazzo. Now he takes a big rip and fouls the fastball back, and the count goes to 2-1. 1 out here in the bottom of the first. Yale leading UConn 2-0. 1 hit for the Yaleys, but it was a big one, a towering home run by center fielder Ron Darling. Now Impagliazzo winds, throws, and another foul back to our right by Gallick, and the count goes to 2-2. Small contingent of fans here today. I expect that the stands might fill up a little more as the day goes on. Now Impagliazzo comes 2-2 to Gallick. Just missed outside with the curveball. And the count goes full, 3-2. Gallick digs in. Impagliazzo winds, throws low in the dirt, ball 4. So UConn has their first runner of the day. Gallick reaching first by the base on balls.
And both pitchers seem to be having their problems getting the ball across the plate. In the first inning, Mark Winters threw 2 bases on balls, and right here, Joe Impagliazzo throwing his first versus John Gallick. 1 away, 1 man on, and up to the plate is Mike Johnson.
Mike batting .344 with 11 hits so far this year. Right-handed batter with a slightly open stance. Now Impagliazzo throws quickly to first, and Gallick is back easily. 1 out, 1 on bottom of the first inning. UConn trailing 2-0. Impagliazzo to the stretch for the first time. Checks, winds, and throws. Fastball right down the middle. Strike 1 called.
Ron Darling is scheduled to pitch today for the Yale Bulldogs, but instead they're going to keep him till Friday when they play Pennsylvania at home for their first league game. 0-1 on Mike Johnson, the number 3 hitter in the UConn lineup. On deck is Tom Capalbo.
the first baseman. And Pagliazzo throws low and in the dirt, stopped nicely by the catcher Tom Kokoska. And the count evens up at 1-1. Now Kokoska goes out and talks to Pagliazzo. Looked like he may have been crossed up on that pitch, as perhaps he was expecting a fastball, and Pagliazzo crossed him up with a low breaking pitch.
As we said earlier, Benanto is going to be using 3 pitchers, and my guess is going to be Pagliazzo, Michalowski, and probably Tom Marshall. Those are 3 pitchers who haven't seen much action in the week and a half because Yale had their last game versus New Haven canceled due to rain this past Saturday.
Johnson checks third base coach Andy Baylock and gets back in as Pagliazzo throws to first, and Gallick goes diving back head first. 1-1 on Mike Johnson. John Gallick off first with a 1-out walk. And Pagliazzo has the sign, stretches and pitches. Fastball blown right by Johnson as he took a hefty cut but didn't come anywhere near it. Strike 2. Pagliazzo looks to be sneaky fast as he doesn't have an awfully big windup. Isn't very big physically, but he hummed that one right past Johnson. 1-2 on Johnson. 1 out, bottom of the first. On deck, Tom Capalvo hoping to get a shot. Now Pagliazzo throws. Ground ball fouled off the foot of Johnson, off to the UConn dugout to our left, and the count holds at 1-2. The Yale infield at double play depth. And now Pagliazzo throws again to first. This time it was a little closer, but Gallick gets back again.
It's a beautiful day here at J.O. Christian. The sun is out, there's not a cloud in the sky, and the center field flagpole, and the flag on the flagpole is not blowing at all, so there's no wind here.
Pagliazzo stretches 1-2 to Johnson, line center field, but right there is the center fielder, Rich Deanna. He makes the catch, backpedaling, and back to first goes John Gallick, as Johnson tied into that one very well, but hit it right at the center fielder, Diana. And there are 2 outs. At the plate now, Tom Capalvo. Capalvo batting .258, has 1 home run. One of the 4 total UConn home runs. Jimmy Considine leads with 2. Capalvo, the first left-handed batter that Pagliazzo has had to face so far. Pagliazzo checks Gallick, lines and throws. Curveball caught the outside corner, strike 1 called. So far, the UConn hitters are taking a look at Pagliazzo's first pitch. The set and the pitch. Fastball outside, ball 1. 1-1 on Tommy Capalvo.
There's a big hole for Capalvo between first and second base, both men, the first baseman and the second baseman. Second baseman Jerry Harrington is shading more towards the second base bag, and the first baseman Dan Costello is holding Mr. John Gallick at first base.
1-1 on Capalvo. The pitch, off-speed pitch in the dirt outside. Good stop by Kokoska. Ball 2. There's also a big gap for Capalvo in left center field, as the center fielder, Diana, is slightly shaded over toward the right field side, and the left fielder is in his normal position. So if Capalvo could poke one out there, he'd have maybe 2 or 3 bases easily. 2-1 on Tommy, with Gallick leading off first base with 2 outs. And the fastball rides in, catches the inside corner, strike 2 called. 2-2 on Tom Capalvo, with John Gallick leading off first. He walked and hasn't moved anywhere since. Curveball is low outside. Nice stop by Kokoska. Ball 3. 3-2, so Gallick will be off with this pitch. Kokoska's had to make a lot of nice stops here in the early going. Infield playing back with 2 outs. And Pagliazzo has the sign, stretches and then throws quickly over to first. Gallick dives back safely.
Speaking of Kokoska, he's one of the few Connecticut men who are living, one of the few men from Yale living in Connecticut. He hails from Willimantic, Connecticut.
Here's the payoff pitch. High fastball skied in the air toward left field. Coming in is the left fielder, Joe Dufek, and he makes the catch for the 3rd out. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 left for the Huskies. After 1 full inning, the score, Yale 2, UConn nothing. We'll be right back.
Make sure you listen to Captain Zing on Friday if you want some fun. We have a note right here. UConn Quinnipiac Special Olympics will be held next Saturday, April 12th from 10 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. in the Student Union Mall Field and Fieldhouse. And the participants are from the Mansfield Training School. And if you want to make a note to catch that, it would be a very interesting and probably a fun day for you.
Top of the second inning, and Mark Winter's first pitch to Tom Kokoska goes past Doug Elliott to the backstop, low and ball one.
Kokoska is a 6'2 sophomore out of Wyndham High School from Willimantic, Connecticut. He's one of the 6 Connecticut boys on the team.
The 1-0 pitch is grounded to third base, picked up by Jimmy Constantine, throws easily to first, and Kokoska is out 5-3. 1 out in the top of the second inning. Brian O'Connor, the third baseman, next up for the Yaleys.
Last year, O'Connor batted .324 with 16 RBIs, and he played in only 21 out of their 30 games, but he was the highest batter from the regulars back this year.
O'Connor, the number 8 hitter in the Yale lineup, takes a curveball low for ball 1. Winters, who is a control pitcher, has been all over the place so far today. Gets this fastball in at the knees for strike 1 called. He's got to get that control to have any kind of success, because he's not an overpowering pitcher at all. Ron Darling proved that in the first inning. 1-1 pitch is a changeup, just a little high, ball 2. 2 runs, 1 hit, no errors for Yale, no runs, no hits, and no errors for UConn. 2-0 Yale. Top of the second inning. Pitch is grounded again toward Constantine at third. Charges, picks up, throws low, but dug out by Capalbo, and O'Connor is out. So 2 chances for Constantine and 2 outs here in the top of the second inning. And the number 9 batter in the Yale lineup, Bob Brook, the shortstop. Another right-handed hitter, as Yale, I believe, only has 1 lefty in their batting lineup.
Brook is a freshman out of Acton, Massachusetts. He is 6'1 and 185 pounds.
Winters throws a curveball right down the middle, strike 1 called.
Benento's high on Brook. He's going to try to help the infield of Yale, who's been pretty bad throughout last year. A lot of errors, a lot of leaks in it, and Brook is one of the guys who's supposed to plug those leaks up.
Pitch is grounded foul past the coaching box at third base. So the count is 0-2 on Bob Brook. Winters peers in, gets the sign from Elliott. Winds and throws 0-2 to Brook. Curveball, beauty, strike 3 call, caught the outside corner. So 3 up, 3 down for the Yale Bulldogs after 1.5. Yale 2, UConn nothing.
Here's a message about iron from Dairy Council's nutrition files. There's a very real problem among women of childbearing age. That common problem is anemia, brought on by inadequate iron reserves in the body and not enough iron in the diet. The easiest solution? To eat more foods containing iron, such as liver, including chicken liver and eggs, which are the best iron sources. But realistically, who's going to eat liver and eggs every day? Then let's consider additional iron sources, other red meats, dark whole grains and enriched cereals, molasses, dark green leafy vegetables, prunes, raisins, dried apricots, and figs. Now that you know there's a wide variety of iron sources, you can plan ahead for your recommended daily allowance. This public service announcement is brought to you by the New England Dairy and Food Council and WHUS.
Bottom of the second inning, it'll be Doug Elliott, Jimmy Constantine, and Joe Vincente for the Huskies. Elliott has been a big surprise this year. He leads an average with 615, total bases with 20, hits with 16, runs scored with 8, and RBIs with 9. As he's been red hot ever since the beginning of the season.
Leading off the bottom of the second, the catcher, number 23, Doug Elliott.
Joe Impagliazzo still on the mound for Yale, as according to plan, he will pitch 1 more inning after this. And then they will go to someone else, as they're going to go with 3 pitchers and hopefully get 3 innings apiece out of them today. Elliott digs in. Right-handed hitter going against the righty Impagliazzo. First pitch is up around the eyes, and Elliott takes it for ball 1. And we're starting to get a few more people here. They're lining the fences and starting to fill up the right field stands. 0-1 pitch catches the inside corner at the letters. Strike 1 called, as Elliott beefed a bit on the call to umpire Roger LaFrance. But to no avail. 1-1 on Doug Elliott. He'll be followed by Jim Constantine. Constantine with a home run against Iona. And now Elliott takes a curveball low and outside for a ball 2. 2-1. Vincente will be followed by Mike Panciera, the DH today. And Pagliazzo winds and throws low inside, ball 3. So Elliott's worked the count to 3-1. And he'll be shooting at the cripple here. Here it is, grounded towards shortstop. Picked up by Bob Brook over to first. High throw, but dragged down by Dan Costello. And Elliott is out 6-3. Went out bottom in the second inning, and here's Jimmy Considine. Considine having a very good year so far, batting .250, but with 2 home runs and 5 ribbies. Had a big 3-run home run Saturday against Iona, I believe in the 8th inning, that all but iced that game, as UConn came back from 2 or 3 deficits to win 10-5. Considine, another right-handed batter, as UConn really doesn't have a lot of lefties that they can throw against the right-handed pitcher. Jimmy takes the fastball low and inside for a ball 1. Outfield straight away for Considine. And Pagliazzo throws, check swing ground ball right side, charging Jerry Harrington, picks up, throws to first, and Considine is out 4-3. That Yale infield may have been bad last year, but it looks okay so far today. 2 outs on 2 ground balls. And the number 7 hitter in the UConn lineup, Joe Vincente, the center fielder, digs in at the plate. Vincente so far this year, if we can find him, is only batting .100. He's off to a very, very poor start. Takes a fastball high and inside, ball 1. 2 outs, nobody on, bottom of the second inning. UConn has yet to get a hit off Joe and Pagliazzo, and they trail 2-0 to the Yale Bulldogs. And Pagliazzo throws, swinging and grounding it to short as Vincente picked up by Brook. Throws to first, and Pagliazzo has a 1-2-3 inning on 3 ground balls. So after 2 full innings, the score, Yale 2, UConn nothing.
Back at Yale Christian Field, Harold Darak along with Steve Tefft, and Yale is up at the top of the 3rd. They're leading by a score of 2-0. There's only been 1 hit in this ball game. It's been a mammoth home run by Ron Darling, the right fielder, off of Mark Winters. Winters is now pitching. The left-hander will be facing Rich Deanna, Dan Costello, and Ron Darling. First up is Deanna. He's playing center field. First time up, he walked, was sacrificed to second base, and scored on the home run by Darling. Right now, Deanna's batting .429. Deanna swings, misses. 1 ball, 1 strike. The UConn defense playing straight away for the right-handed hitting Deanna. The 1-1 pitch, curveball inside and low, ball 2.
Lewis looks a little steadier in this inning, Harold. He got off to a very rocky start, but he's starting to find the strike zone with his curveballs.
2-1 pitch, Winters kicks. Called, strike 2. 2-2 is the count against Rich Deanna.
Yale is going without their captain today, Wally Rowe, who normally plays second base. We don't know what for.
Strike 3, swung on lift, but is dropped by catcher Dianity. He goes to first base and makes the play. So scoring a strikeout and the put out from 2 to 3, and there's 1 down for Yale.
Good curveball. That fell right at the table and had Diana fishing for that one.
I think the reason Wally Rowe is not starting today is he's not much of a regular. Last year he played a lot more than this year, but Jerry Harrington won the position from him in spring training. That's going to bring up Dan Costello. The first pitch Costello swung out and missed for strike 1. Costello's batting left-handed. His first time up, he laid down a beautiful sacrifice bunt, which Mark Winters got and threw on the second baseman Mike Johnson to retire him. 0-1 pitch high, ball 1. Yale 2, Connecticut nothing. Top of the 3rd inning. The Winters 1-1 pitch low, and it bounced 2 feet in front of the plate. It was a curveball.
59-foot curveball.
And I was just going to say, a 59-foot curveball. Winters' record this year is 2 wins and 1 loss. He has a 1.23 ERA. He settled down a bit from that first inning where he threw 2 walks and a home run ball. Here's a 2-1 pitch inside corner. Oh, just misses. Winters was looking for that one, but umpire Roger McClellan said it was a ball, and the count goes to 2-1. Wake up! Dan Costello versus Winters. Curveball again. Called, this time 2-2. Now the scoreboard corrects me. The count is now 3-2. So he missed one right there. Full count goes ball 4 as Mark Winters walks Dan Costello, his third walk of the game. That's going to bring up Ron Darling, his first time up. And the first pitch off of Winters flew one deep in the left field that went over the fence and over John Gallick and over everything for a 2-run homer, and he's responsible for both Bulldog runs in this game. Here's the first pitch of Darling, curveball called, strike 1. It broke in nicely. So Costello on first base, Darling up, and Winters with an 0-1 count.
Would expect Winters to work Darling with the curveball this time up.
Ball 1, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Because he nailed Winters' first pitch, a high fastball last time, and I don't imagine he'll be seeing that pitch for a while.
UConn looking for the DP, and here's the pitch. Right back again, and throw to second base. He's safe at second base. There was a strike on the play, so credit a stolen base to Dan Costello. It was a nice throw. The throw was right on the money. It was just that he beat it, and Mike Johnson couldn't get the tag down quick enough.
And Costello picked the right pitch to go on. It was a slow curveball, and that gave him all the leeway that he needed to beat Doug Elliott's throw.
So Ron Darling has Dan Costello in scoring position, and here's the 1-2 pitch. Swung on and missed for strike 3. A beautiful pitch by Mark Winters to get back at Ron Darling, and that's 2 out this inning. The fourth strikeout for Mark Winters. Costello on second base, and that'll bring up Joe Dufek, the freshman, who comes into this game batting a 362. He's playing left field. Dufek is a freshman out of Kent, Ohio, who played baseball for Kent Roosevelt High School. First pitch, ball 1. Joe Dufek was the MVP of Yale's freshman football squad this past fall, so he's a multi-athlete. Next pitch, high, ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes, runner on second base with 2 outs here in the top of the 3rd inning. The score, Yale 2, Connecticut nothing.
Winters has yet to gain control of his fastball. I mentioned earlier that he's getting his curve under control, but all his fastballs are high in the strike zone.
2-0 pitch, called, strike with a fastball. Little high. The wind is now picking up, blowing out to right field. It's a pretty nice day nonetheless. 2-1 pitch, high, swung on, fouled out of play. He went after another little high fastball.
He keeps bringing him in up that height, and he won't be out there for too long today.
Count goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes. On deck is Steve Harrington. Mark Winters looks in, checks aside. Looks around to second base, kicks and delivers. Swung on, it's going to bounce right on the plate, but they're going to call it a foul ball as it did touch home plate. And the count remains at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I think he fouled it off his foot also, Harold. He was kind of limping around there, trying to shake it off.
Dufek, a freshman, batting in a number 4 position. 2-2 pitch again, swung on, ground ball to the left side. Tally over, going back deep, is a long throw, and it's picked up in nice play as Tally over to Tommy Capaldo, who tires aside. So, 3 men up, 4 men up, 1 get on base, but that's the side who retired. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 left on base. The score at the end of 2.5 innings of play, Yale 2, Connecticut nothing.
If you are covered by Medicare, you have the right to question Medicare's decision not to pay a hospital bill. The Social Security Administration says sometimes the rules are subject to interpretation. For instance, some expenses are disallowed because they are not medically necessary. But if you didn't know those services weren't covered, a special rule could allow the bill to be paid. Medicare hires insurance organizations to review claims and authorize payment. But Medicare will review their decision if you appeal. Further appeals can go to a hearing and even as far as federal district court. First, contact your nearest Social Security office for an explanation of your bill. The problem may be a simple requirement of the law, such as the deductible that must be paid before insurance begins. But if you want reconsideration, get your appeal in within 60 days of getting the bill. Social Security can give you a form and help you fill it out. For details, send for your right to question the decision on your hospital insurance claim. Is free from the Consumer Information Center, Pueblo, Colorado, 81009.
Bottom of the third inning, Yale 2, Connecticut nothing. Joe Pagliazzo pitching his third inning, which should be his last inning from the reports we got earlier, but Joe Benanto does not have any of his other pitchers warming up, and so we don't have to question that report. The batter right now is Mike Panciera, and the first pitch to him is a called strike one. Panciera on the year is batting 182. He has no home runs and 1 RBI. 0-1 pitch to Mike. Inside, ball 1. On deck is Talanoble, who retired that last batter, Joe Dufek, on the ground ball. 1-1 pitch, fouled on a play behind first base. Joe Dufek, right-handed pitching pitcher. No, excuse me, not Dufek. Joe Pagliazzo pitches right-handed, hails from Providence, Rhode Island. 5'11", 170 pounds. The 1-2 pitch, swung on again, foul on a play behind first base.
He's getting that fastball by Panciera. Both of his foul balls have been off to the right side.
Panciera just holding on to stay in there. 1 ball, as I say,
sneaky fast.
And here's the 1-2 pitch, low, ball 2.
Funny thing about the UConn batters so far this year, they have 6 men above 300 and 6 men below 235, so it's either been feast or famine for the UConn hitters so far this year.
And the 2-2 pitch, swung on again, fouled out of play, and again, Mike Panciera cannot get around on Pagliazzo's fastball, and it goes behind first base and out of play.
Panciera is one of the lower echelon batters so far this year with a 182 average.
Joe Pagliazzo checking the sign, kicks, pitches, and it's a ground ball. That's how he pulls it down the third base line, and it's another foul ball, and the count remains at 2-2. That last pitch was a curveball, and so Pagliazzo trying to mix up Panciera. And then Pagliazzo asks the umpire, Mr. LaFranc, for a new ball. Two balls, 2 strikes to Mike Panciera. And Pagliazzo again checks in. Winds and delivers. Swung on, fouled behind, straight back, behind home plate. And Panciera wasting away at Joe Pagliazzo. Fouled off about 4 pitches now, and he's still hanging on, trying to get the pitch he's waiting for. 2-2 pitch once again. Called strike 3, and Panciera cannot believe that one. But there's one away. It was right around the kneecaps, but the umpire said it was good enough to be a strike. Run down and up, bring up Talanoble.
Good change up there. Panciera looked like he was expecting another homer, and he couldn't quite pull the trigger on that one.
Talanoble this year batting .318 with no home runs and 1 RBI. He has scored 5 runs and one of the team leaders in runs in that category. First pitch, called strike 1. Talanoble, shortstop out of Fairfield, Connecticut. High, ball 2.
And good friend of B.J. Fennell.
Right, he's substituting for Carl Gazzardi, who's having some shoulder problems, and has been subbing very well. And if he keeps up this pace when Carl comes back, he will not have a job to look for. We'll have to try to fight that one back. Another pitch, high, ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike to Talanoble, as Pagliazzo came in high twice with 2 fastballs. 2-1 pitch, low, ball 3. And Pagliazzo having some control problems after he struck out Mike Panciera. He had to work for that strikeout though. And that's ball 4 to Talanoble. So runner on first base with 1 away. And that'll bring up the top of the lineup, Kevin Trahan. Trahan came into this game batting 130, but his first time up, he grounded out weakly to the pitcher.
And both of UConn's runners so far this game have been via the walk route. They still have yet to get a hit off of Pagliazzo.
And Pagliazzo went into the stretch motion. with Noble at first. He throws to first base, but not in time. Noble is not really a threat to steal, but Pagliazzo must have known that. And he's probably going to figure UConn is going to try to get as many runners in scoring position as possible. Pagliazzo's first pitch to Trahan, outside ball one.
Pagliazzo looks like he's going to be a tough pitcher to steal off of, primarily because he has a very good motion to first and a very quick windup out of the stretch position to home plate.
1-0 pitch, call, strike one, inside fastball, whipped the corner on Kevin Trahan.
UConn, of course, is missing a lot of their speed with the absence of Dennis Donovan.
5-minute third inning, and Pagliazzo pitching a no-hitter. It's Yale 2, Connecticut nothing. And you have those two runs scoring on a Ron Darling first inning 2-run home run. Next pitch, low, ball 2, 2 balls and 1 strike. Pagliazzo looking at the runner at first base, Tally Noble. Now looking in at the sign. In the stretch, checks the runner again, throws. Call, strike 2, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Mitch Petrie's coaching first base and Andy Baylock coaching third. Huskies trying to win their third game in a row and fourth in 5 games. Has even had a pretty hot streak up north. They defeated St. John's 4-0 and came back and defeated Iona 10-5. The 2-2 pitch called, strike 3, and Kevin Trahan goes down without even swinging.
Pagliazzo has the UConn hitters way off stride. He's mixing up his pitches very well, changing speeds, and they can't pull the trigger so far today. They don't have anything resembling a hit.
That'll bring up John Gallick. They really haven't hit the ball with any authority at all throughout this game. Gallick, his first time up, walked. And he's the only other base runner who's got on for the Huskies. Tyler Noble, of course, is on first base right now. He got on the walk. So we have 2 outs, runner on first, no balls and no strikes to John Gallick. First pitch to him. Ball 1 goes past the catcher, and going on to second base for the pass ball is Tyler Noble. They should rule without a pass ball. It wasn't that much of a wild pitch.
Should have been handled.
Tom Kokoska just let it go and really didn't hustle after it until he saw that Noble was running to second base. So Huskies have their first runner in scoring position on second base, Tyler Noble, and at bat, John Gallick. Gallick came in this game batting .371. He's the second leading hitter on the Husky squad, and we sure could use a base hit right now. Next pitch, grounded right back to the pitcher, and then Pagliazzo takes it, runs over to first base, and flips it over for the third out. So there was no runs on it, 1 hit there, no errors, and 1 left on base. The score at the end of 3 completed innings of play, the Bulldogs of Yale 2, the Huskies of Connecticut, nothing. First pitch to Steve Harrington, a call, strike 1 on the curveball from Mark Winters. Top of the 4th, Yale 2, Connecticut nothing. Next pitch fouled off, strike 2. The batter is Steve Harrington, his first time up. Mark Winters struck him out, and it really fooled him on a curveball. It went over the plate, and Harrington right now is behind by a count of no balls and 2 strikes. After Steve Harrington will be his brother Jerry Harrington and Tom Kokoska, the catcher. The 0-2 pitch by Winters, called, strike 3, and there's 1 away for Mark Winters. That's his 5th strikeout of the game, and we're only in the 4th inning.
Winters' task right now is to hold Yale to 2 runs while UConn can try and chip away at Pagliazzo. As it appears he's going to pitch the next inning. Yale has nobody warming up.
And that must have been some incorrect information that we have received. And I guess the 3-inning per pitcher rule will not count, and a pitcher of record will have to go 5 innings. Count goes to no balls and 2 strikes to Jerry Harrington. His first time up, he fouled out to the first baseman Tommy Capalbo to end the 1st inning. The 0-2 pitch, curveball swung onto the right side of the infield. Coming up is Capalbo. He underhands it to the pitcher Mark Winters, and there's 2 down. So scored in the books 3-1. 2 away, and that'll bring up Tom Kokoska, who grounded out to the third baseman Jim Constantine, his first time up. Yale's record is 6-3. Their last winning season was 1963. So Branto's been turning things around here pretty quickly, as this is only his 2nd year as head coach. Last year they won the city championship for the first time ever by beating Southern Connecticut and New Haven in consecutive days. first pitch to Tom Kokoskis, strike one. New Haven is a pretty big intra-city rival. They're a top Division II squad. They play almost every day. They had a game scheduled for Saturday, but it was rained out. It looks like they probably will not make it up. Next pitch, ball one. One ball and one strike. Kokoskis, we have already mentioned, hails from Willimantic, Connecticut, which is just about a stone's throw from Storrs. He should have a lot of followers around here. Called swung out strike two. As Winters had a nice, beautiful curveball come across the plate. The count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. The scoreboard incorrectly has it at 2 balls and 1 strike. Next pitch, strike three, and that's the side. The 6th strikeout from Mark Winters. So there was no runs, no hits, and no errors. A 1-2-3 inning. No left on, and the score at the end of 3.5 innings of play. Yale 2, Connecticut nothing.
Education isn't cheap, but the U.S. Department of Education has grants, loans, and work-study programs that can help. There's the Basic Education Opportunity Grant that provides up to $1,800 per year. And there's the National Direct Student Loan at 3% interest, both awarded according to need. The Health Education Assistant Loan is for graduate students in medical, dental, or other health-related schools. For details, send for the free Student Guide 6 Let's try that again. Student Guide 6 Federal Financial Aid Programs from the Consumer Information Center, Pueblo, Colorado, 81009.
The second on behalf of Pueblo, Colorado. We're in the bottom. It's a very good time. Bottom of the 4th inning, the Huskies will send up to the plate Mike Johnson, Tom Capaldo, and their top hitter, Doug Elliott, to face the pitcher, Joey Pagliazzo. And this will be his 4th inning of pitching, and he's been pitching very well. He's only walked 2 and struck out 1, but has not allowed a single Connecticut hit. Mike Johnson, his first time up, flew out to the center fielder of the year. He's batting .344. And last year, of course, we all know the story on Johnson. He came up mid-year from the JV squad and shot right into the starting lineup and batted about .290, .300 for the rest of the regular season, and finished off at .267, but a very tremendous year for Mike Johnson. Johnson steps up to the plate. He's a right-handed hitting batter with an open stance. And Pagliazzo ready to pitch to him, but Johnson calls timeout to get set. Now Johnson's ready and Pagliazzo's ready. The infield playing in at a regular depth. And the first pitch to Johnson inside, ball 1. The outfield playing Johnson straight away. The wind blowing slightly to right field, and the crowd picking up here as we have a lot more fans in the stands than we did at the beginning of the game. The 1-0 pitch to Johnson, outside, ball 2, and now the crowd is trying to get out of Pagliazzo, trying to make him make his first mistake, and the Huskies with a possibility to score a run. The Pagliazzo now calls timeout to tie his shoe, and the fans get on it like that. These Husky fans are pretty bad around here. They don't let you do anything. 2 balls, no strikes to Mike Johnson here in the bottom of the 4th. The Pagliazzo checks the sign, lines, deals, and it's high, ball 3. The Pagliazzo having control problems here in the bottom of the 4th. The 3-0 pitch. Called, strike 1, a fastball, and he just kind of lobbed right over. He figured with a 2-run deficit, Johnson would not be swinging, and he figured correctly. But the count is 3-1, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Bailey give the green light. But Johnson in the back. Johnson hit by the pitch, so he gets a free pass to first base. And the 3rd Husky runner of the game. But then, on base hits. He's still pitching a no-hitter.
Well, that's the first leadoff hitter for UConn to get on, and I'm sure that Tommy Capaldo will be scoring around the butt. Close game, they need 1 run to draw within 1.
Capaldo, the number 4 hitter in the lineup, who has bunted before. We've seen even Doug Elliott bunt, and Elliott's batting .615, so Andy Bailey will go through no trouble to see any of his people coming out with the fundamentals. And the 3rd baseman is shading in on a player that Capaldo is not square around, and instead it was a called strike 1.
On the other hand, he could have him hitting away.
Well, you never know. Might not be the first pitch, it could be the second. But whatever, you guys going to confront Tommy Capaldo as Pagliazzo really stuck it to him with a fastball. Next pitch, swung on and missed, strike two. And you're going to bet now that he won't be bunting. No balls and 2 strikes to Tommy Capalbo. Capalbo's first time up, he flew out to left field. He really didn't get around that fastball by Pagliasso. Pagliasso checks the sign from the stretch position, winds, and here's a pitch, a flying shot in left field. Going back for it is Joe Dufek. He makes the catch for 1 away. And going back to first base, Mike Johnson. But Capalbo, nice line shot, probably the best hit we've seen off a Husky bat so far, and still that didn't fall for a base hit. There's 1 away here in the bottom of the 4th.
That was a very well hit ball. That and Mike Johnson's liner to the center fielder in the first inning have really been the 2 really well hit balls so far today off in Pagliasso.
And we now see a Yale pitcher warming up. It's Mark Michalowski. And Doug Elliott steps up to the plate and fouls off the first one. It was a high fastball, but Elliott just got around on, swung it, and over the first base dugout. No balls and 1 strike to Doug Elliott, who came into this game batting .615. His first time up, he grounded out to the shortstop. Johnson on first, Elliott at the plate, 1 down, and Pagliasso pitching. Here's a pitch forward, it goes past the catcher, and Johnson's going to go back to go to second base on the second pass ball by the catcher, Tom Kokoska. So Kokoska is making beautiful stops in the first couple innings, has just in 2 consecutive innings let up pass balls, and UConn has their second runner in scoring position, Mike Johnson.
He's stopping the tough ones and letting the easy ones go by. He should have handled that one very easily. It was just above the ground, and he just let it go through the webbing.
That was just a lack of concentration by Kokoska. He figured he had the ball with no problem, but it went right under his leg. So, 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out, and Johnson on second base. Pitched Elliott, fouled off, out of play, behind first base. That count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Good whip.
Elliott, the team leader in RBIs with 9, has a chance to up it by getting a hit, which would send Mike Johnson home. Johnson on second base. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And Elliott never gets cheated on his cuts.
And Pagliasso checking the runner. Winds, deals, and it's low again. Almost gets by Kokoska, but this time he makes a nice save. Count is up to 2-2. Elliott again stepping in. Elliott has an open stance. On deck, Jim Considine. Considine with the team leader for the Huskies in home runs with 2. Huskies trying to battle back from a 2-0 deficit. We're here in the bottom of the 4th. Here's the pitch high. Ball 3. The count goes full to 3-2. 1 away here in the bottom of the 4th for Yale. They've had 2 runs on 1 hit and no errors. Connecticut straight zeros across the board. The only hit by Yale was a home run in the first inning given up by Mark Winters to Ron Darling. It was a 2-run shot after Winters had left the leadoff batter Rich Deanna. Here's the payoff pitch. 3-2, swing on, ground ball to the second baseman, Jerry Harrington. He scoops it up and throws over to first. But the runner, Mike Johnson, advances to third base on the putout. And there's now a runner on third base with 2 down. And coming up is Jim Considine. Considine is going to have to get a hit here in order for that Husky run to score. He can't do it on a sacrifice fly. Considine, of course, into this game batting .250 and with 5 RBIs, the second on the team to Doug Elliott.
And the wind has picked up again, Harold, blowing rather stiffly out toward right field.
Considine, his first time up, grounded out to the second baseman on a check swing. This time, first pitch to him was high and outside.
And Pagliasso is starting to come up with his fastballs as the legs are starting to get a little tired, perhaps. Those are the first things to get tired of a pitch of the legs, and that causes the fastball to rise.
Well, they pitch again high fastball ball too, Stevie Wright. And Pagliasso has not had a lot of work in a week and a half. He has not been pitching since the Southern trip, just probably in batting practice. He's having his problem. He's getting tired pretty quickly. And Benito sees this, and he has Michalowski warming up still in the Yale bullpen. The 2-0 pitch to Considine. Oh, right over the plate, strike 1. Considine was watching that all the way. They're going to make Pagliasso work for whatever he can get. 2 balls, 1 strike. Johnson on third base, 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th. And Pagliasso ready again. He's pitching from the wind-up motion, and here it comes. Swung on and missed, strike 2. Considine not getting a very good swing there. It was a high pitch, and it could have been questioned.
That looked to be right in his wheelhouse. Oh, well, he likes it. He just missed it.
2-2 with 2 outs. On deck batter Joe Vincente is having a bit of hard luck here to start the 1980 baseball season. And here's the 2-2 pitch, high, way high, ball 3-2. I don't think that pitch would have even been a strike to a Wilt Chamberlain. That's how high that ball went.
That's pretty high.
That is pretty high. 3-2, full count. Of course, Mike Johnson will not be running. He's the only runner on base on third base. And here's the 3-2 pitch, called ball 4. And he's going to first base. And for Pagliasso, it's his third walk, not including that one-hit batsman.
He's definitely laboring out there. This should be his last inning. Should he get out of this alive?
And UConn's going to have a little problem. Upcoming to the plate is Joe Vincente, who's batting 100. He grounded out his first time, so he's batting a little bit under 100, 3 for 31. And he has 1 RBI on the year. Runners on first and third, a not very fast runner on first, Jim Considine, and the runner on third base is Mike Johnson. Will Connecticut score? That's the question. First pitch to Vincente, ball 1, and Pagliasso now is working. And he's going to have to work a lot because you know Connecticut's not going to be swinging until they get a strike. Mikulowski's still working in the bullpen for Yale. The winner pitch to Vincente, he is swinging, it's fouled off behind first. And Considine looking to scare Pagliasso, faking a steal to second base. But Vincente was swinging, and he's getting a bit of a confidence booster from Andy Balak, saying, hey, we know you're going to come around sometime. Hopefully it'll be right now in the bottom of the fourth.
And he had a good pitch to hit there, a meatball right over the middle of the plate. And when you're going bad, you can't hit anything.
1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs. Considine on first, Johnson on third. Ball on the inside corner. It looked like the umpire was going to call strike 2. He's been calling that most of the day. It was just a little bit inside to Vincente. The count runs up to 2-1. And Pagliasso checking the runner. Here's the pitch. Swung on. It was a little bit high. It was fouled out of play. And the count goes up to 2-2. So Vincente, 2 balls, 2 strikes. There's 2 outs. Johnson on third. And Considine on first. The on-deck batter will be Mike Panciera. But it's in Pagliasso versus Vincente in a confrontation here at J.O. Christian Field. Here's the pitch. Low, ball 3, and that just is also. And Coach Joe Bonanto not too happy with that one. He can't believe the call because the umpire has been kind of calling him here and there. Inconsistent, that's what I'm looking for. He's not very steady on most of his calls. When it's a ball, it can be a strike. But here's the payoff pitch, and Considine's running. Swung on a check, catcher missed the ball. But they're going to call it a foul ball. And lucky for the Huskies, Vincente just got a small piece of that ball. I didn't even hear the tip of the foul. And the count remains at 3-2, and Considine again will be off and running on the pitch. Vincente up, 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Considine on first, Johnson on third. The Huskies' first real big scoring threat, and here's the pitch. Swung on and missed, again fouled. He just got that last piece of it. It looked like he was going to miss it, but he did get a piece of it. And the count stays at 3-2.
With 2 strikes, Considine is, or rather, Vincente is cutting down on his swing an awful lot, just trying to protect and get a piece of the ball and try and put it in play to give Yale a chance to foul it up.
In Pagliasso again, checking the signal. He is working the stretch motion since Considine is on first base. Infield playing back, trying to knock down any ball. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Swung on and missed, and there goes the Husky rally for strike 3 and 3 outs. So there was no runs on, no hits, no errors, but 2 left on. 1 on a hit batsman and 1 on a walk. And that's the end of the 4th inning of play. So the score at the end of 4, it's the Bulldogs of Yale 2, the Huskies of Connecticut nothing. And let's stay tuned for this word from the Women's Radio Collective. beginning April 8th from 10 a.m. to 12 noon at the Greater Hartford headquarters, 209 Farmington Avenue. The course, which continues through May 13th, is designed to educate expectant parents on care during pregnancy. It will include demonstrations and discussions concerning infant care, child safety, and development. Class size is limited. All applicants must register prior to the first class session by calling the Red Cross Community Health and Safety Services at 677-4531. That is 677-4531, extension 348 or 307. UConn Husky Baseball WHUS has been made possible in part through generous underwriting grants from the following local establishments: the Fiddle Spirit Shop, Subway Footlong Sandwiches, Husky's Restaurant, Holiday Spirits, 7-Eleven of Mansfield, and the Acme Auto Parts. The next time you visit one of these fine establishments, tell them how much you enjoy listening to UConn Husky Baseball on WHUS, the sound alternative. This is Harold Darak along with Steve Tefft. We have a pitching change coming into the game for Joe and Pagliazzo is Mark Michalowski. We can close the book on Pagliazzo. He pitched 4 innings. He allowed 0 hits, walked 3, hit 1 batter, and struck out 3. He allowed no runs. And Michalowski comes into this game with a record, I believe, this is not official, I believe his record is 1 win and 1 loss. And that would account for all of Euro's wins and losses with Darling at 4-1, but we are not sure about that. We did not get any statistics at the beginning of the game. Steve?
And Michalowski is another right-hander. He's a short guy, 5'9", 170 out of Boston. So the second right-hander of the day for the Yale Bulldogs. Curveball rides low and outside to Mike Panciera, the DH for UConn, ball 1. UConn still shooting for their first base hit of the day. Maybe they'll have better luck off of Michalowski than they did off of Pagliazzo. Fastball inside corner, strike 1 called. Mike Panciera digs in. Count of 1-1. Pitch is a fastball low and outside, ball 2. Panciera's first time up, he grounded out, or rather popped up. Well, I can't figure out how Darak's scoring system here. He did whatever he did. It was way back there to left field. He's watching this one. Here. Home run for Mike Panciera. The first hit and the first run for the UConn Huskies. He railed into that fastball. And that is Panciera's first home run of the year. And his second RBI.
That scoring, which you did not recognize in the 3rd inning, Mike Panciera struck out, and there's a C by it because he was caught looking. So he struck out, and he was caught looking. First time up.
Some people put the K backwards, Harold.
I don't. That's evident.
Well, anyway, 1 run for UConn, and now Tyler Noble grounds the shot toward third base, picked up by O'Connor. He throws the first and set for first base as the first baseman Costello bobbled the low throw.
There'll be an error on the play, but I think they're probably going to give the error to the 3rd baseman because it was a low throw that Costello really couldn't come up with. It bounced in front of him. He did have it to begin with, but it did drop it. Benanto's out there arguing with the first base umpire, Frank Bergen, but the call is going to remain. It's going to be E5, and Tyler Noble is on first base. Sit down!
And Benanto is still out there arguing.
Go back, get back out, play the game.
And the players have scored an error on the first baseman, Dan Costello.
Play the game.
So UConn having much better luck with Mike Michalowski, as the first batter against him homered, and the second batter, Tyler Noble, is on first by an error. Leadoff hitter Kevin Trahan is at the plate now with nobody out, and Noble on first. Trahan is 0 for 2. He was caught looking in the 3rd inning, and in the 1st inning he grounded out to the pitcher. As I can now figure out Harold Darak's scoring system. It takes a while, but I got it. Nobody out, 1 on, 1 run in. Infield charging, scoring the bunt is Trahan. He fouls it back on the sacrifice attempt, strike 1.
And that must irk Andy Baylock. He's a leadoff hitter, Trahan is, and they're supposed to have those fundamentals down. They're supposed to know how to bunt. Right now, Baylock is talking to Trahan. He was kind of upset about the play. Trahan should have got that bunt down, and he just didn't. And so now he's going to have to look again to see if he's either going to bunt or swing away.
And on the previous play, the scoring has been changed to an error on the 3rd baseman, Brian O'Connor, for the low throw.
That's what I said. They shouldn't have changed it. They should have listened to me. No balls are 1 strike to Trahan.
Leading off first, Tyler Noble. Pitch, he was not scoring the bunt, but he takes a curveball inside corner, strike 2 called.
Will they bunt him now? What do you think?
Well, I'm not the coach.
What do you think?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Put me on the spot, okay.
What the heck?
0-2 the count on Kevin Trahan. Wind up in the pitch as a fastball, riding in high as he was not squaring the bunt.
I would have bunted him. No, seriously, man out of first base, Noble. They need him in scoring position. They need another run. They're down by 1. And right now they're in a rallying position. They might as well take the shot.
1-2, and Michalowski throws over to first. Back safely is Noble. As UConn has a runner on first, nobody out, and a count of 1-2 on their leadoff hitter. In the order, Kevin Trahan, 1 run in on 1 hit. Now Trahan grounds it weakly to third, picked up over to second for 1, and no throw to first can be made as Toll made a good takeout slide on the second baseman Jerry Harrington. And Harrington was not able to return the throw to first. So scored out a force out, 5-4, and Trahan reaches first. 1 out, 1 on. The batter now, John Gallick, the left fielder. Gallick so far has skied to left field and grounded out to the pitcher. Michalowski throws, curveball, rides outside and low, ball 1. Mark Michalowski in his first inning has been no picnic for him so far as he's given up 1 hit. A long home run, and he has a runner on first via an error. Now there goes the runner. The pitch is grounded foul outside of first base as UConn had the hit and run on. And had Gallick been able to push that ball to the right side, he would have had a base hit as the second baseman, Jerry Harrington, was over at second covering on the steal attempt.
Also, Costello was charging in for a possible bunt, which is kind of unbelievable for him to do something like that. But again, he had a wide open right side, but Gallick just couldn't come through with the base hit.
Trahan with a 5-step lead off first. Michalowski checks, throws to first. Back diving safely is Kevin Trahan. So Michalowski will come to the set position again. 1-1 on John Gallick. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. UConn trails 2-1. Now swinging weakly and missing is John Gallick on a low outside curveball. And the count goes to 1-2. Michalowski winds, throws, check swing, but he went too far. Strike 3 as Gallick could not make up his mind on that pitch and went halfway around and was called out. So give Michalowski a strikeout, that's his first. And there are 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th inning. At the plate now, Mike Johnson, second baseman, third batter in the order. Johnson so far today is 0 for 2. Check that, 0 for 1, as he was hit by a pitch in the 4th inning and flied out to the center fielder in the 1st. He was hit right in the back by Joe Impagliazzo. Johnson came into the game batting .344. Now Trahan takes his lead off first. Johnson takes a fastball for strike 1 called. 0-1 on Johnson. On deck is Tommy Capalbo. Wind now has picked up again, and it again is going out toward right field. Michalowski checks Trahan. Winds and throws. Line drive left field toward the foul pole. Curving, but then it goes foul. As Johnson just got around a little too much on that hanging curveball. And they've pulled a couple of shots this inning. So the count stays at 0-2 on Mike Johnson. Bottom of the 5th inning, UConn trailing 2-1. As they have gotten their first hit of the ball game in this inning, a leadoff home run by Mike Panciera. Digging back in, Mike Johnson. 2 outs, Trahan off of first. New pitcher for Yale, Mark Michalowski, leans in, gets the sign. Checks, winds, and throws. Another line drive down the left field line, not quite as far. Going toward the line is the left fielder. He can't get it, but it's a foul ball, just foul down the line. Joe Dufek is the left fielder for Yale, and he gave that a good shot, but could not quite catch up to it down the left field line. Count holds at 0-2 on Mike Johnson. UConn trying to tie up this ball game or possibly go ahead for Mark Winters, who, apart from the first inning, has pitched a very good ball game.
There's only been 2 hits in this ball game. Both of them have been home runs, one by Ron Darling and one by Mike Panciera.
Trahan off at first. Mikulowski sets. Winds and throws. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. Low curveball, and Johnson went fishing. So, 1 run, 1 hit, the Panciera home run, 1 error, and 1 runner left on first base. So after 5 full innings, the score, UConn, or rather Yale 2, UConn 1. Top of the 6th inning, Dan Costello, Ron Darling, and Joe Dufek to face Mark Winters. Winters' first pitch to Costello was a fastball high and away, ball 1. He winds and throws the fastball low and inside for ball 2. Dan Costello, the first baseman, and the number 2 batter in the order, is 0 for 0 officially today, as he sacrificed in the first inning and walked in the 3rd. Has a stolen base also to his credit today. Takes a strike, and it's 2-1. Now here's Winters changing up, and that ball didn't even reach home plate. Ball 3, strike 1 on Dan Costello. Winters can ill afford to let the leadoff hitter get on because the Yale power man, Ron Darling, is on deck. Winters winds and throws 3-1. Ground ball past Winters towards second base. Picked up and thrown to first in time, and Costello is out. Score that 4-3, 1 out. And here is Ron Darling. Darling today is 1 for 2. Hit a monstrous home run in the first inning out beyond the scoreboard in left field, and then struck out swinging in the 3rd.
Struck out last time.
Good play up there.
Darling digs in. Winters gets the sign, winds and throws. Big lollipop curveball comes in. Strike 1 called.
He had his only hit for the day, Mark. You won't see it again, Mark.
Winters rocks and delivers. Curveball low and bounces to Doug Elliott. Ball 1. Count evens up at 1-1. 1 out. Bottom of the 6th inning. Or rather, top of the 6th inning. UConn trailing Yale 2-1. Fastball line toward the gap in left center field. May go all the way to the wall. Cut off there by the left fielder Trahan, and Darling will round first and come into second easily with a smashing double to the gap in left field. And if the field was a little drier, that may have gone for 3 bases, as that ball was tagged right to the gap in left center field. Cut off well though by John Gallick, and give Darling a 1-out double. The left fielder Joe Dufek at the plate. Now Dufek today is 0 for 1 with a walk. Winters checks Darling, throws, curveball high and inside, ball 1. The way things are going in this game, 1 run here might make a big difference. 2-1 Yale leads. They have 2 hits, and Ron Darling has both of them. Winters checks Darling off second, throws, fastball low, good stop by Elliott, and the count of 2-0 on Joe Dufek. On deck, Steve Harrington, the DH. Dufek digs in. Winters leans in, gets the sign from Elliott, sets, checks, throws, fastball, strike called on the outside corner as the umpire delayed his call a bit there. But the count is 2-1 on Joe Dufek. 1 out, 1 on, top of the 6th inning. Pitch, fastball, fouled back to the screen, strike 2. Good fastball as Winters got that ball by Joe Dufek. Two and 2 on Joe Dufek, right-handed hitter. Here's the pitch, curveball, high and inside, ball 3. Full count on Joe Dufek. 1 out, Ron Darling off of second base with a 1-out double. And Dufek has worked the count to 3-2 on Mark Winters. Winters sets, delivers the payoff pitch. Fastball way up high, ball 4, not even close. And Winters wants a new ball to work with. So after 1 out, the next 2 runners, or rather the next 2 batters have gotten on against Mark Winters. Runners on second and first, 1 out. And the number 5 hitter in the order, the DH, Steve Harrington at the plate.
For Winters, that's his 3rd base on balls and his first in 3 innings of play. The last time he walked the batter was way back in the 3rd inning when he walked Dan Costello.
Harrington is the only left-handed batter in the Yale lineup today, and he has had no luck whatsoever against Winters today. He struck out twice, both swinging. Winters checks the runners. Wines throws. Ground ball weakly hit the shortstop. Noble over to Johnson for one. Return throw to first in time. Double play. 6-4-3. Nicely turned by the UConn infield, and Winters works out. So, no runs, one hit, no errors, and two lefts, rather one left. So after 5.5 to score, Yale 2, UConn 1. We'll be back right after this.
No, we'll stay right here. If you ever get stuck with a dead battery, the U.S. Department of Transportation wants you to know the safe way to jumpstart your car. Batteries release explosive hydrogen gas when they are charging, so don't smoke. And to prevent sparks from causing an explosion, make sure vent caps are tight and cover them with a damp cloth. Be careful not to reverse the jumper cables. Separate twisted cables or use color-coded ones. Then with ignitions off and the brake on, connect the positive terminal on the good battery to the positive terminal on the dead one. Then connect the other cable to the negative terminal on the good battery. Make your final connection to the disabled car's grounded flame or engine block, not its battery. This keeps sparks away from explosive gases, but avoid a connection to the carburetor or moving parts. After a successful start, remember to remove the negative cable from the first frame. Or if you can't start the disabled car after 30 seconds, get professional help. To learn more about safe jump starts, send for a free copy of Battery Hazards from the Consumer Information Center, the great city of Pueblo, Colorado, and the zip is 81009. That's Consumer Information Center, Pueblo, Colorado, 81009.
Well, next time I have to jumpstart my car, I'm going to call you, Harold.
That's a smart move.
Yes. 2-1, Yale leads, bottom of the 6th inning. It will be Tom Capalvo, Doug Elliott, and Jim Considine, the number 4, 5, and 6 batters, to face Mark Michalowski. Michalowski had a rocky 5th inning as he gave up UConn's only run. A long home run to Mike Panciera. First pitch is grounded right back to Michalowski. Picks it up, throws to first baseman Costello, and on one pitch, Capalvo is out. Score that 1-3, 1 out. And Doug Elliott at the plate. Elliott today is 0 for 2. Grounded out to short and grounded out to third. So he was one of the few players to get around on Joe Impagliazzo's fastball when the lefty was in there. He has not faced the righty, Michalowski, yet. Curveball catches the outside corner, strike one called. 0-1 on Doug Elliott. 1 out, bottom of the 6th inning. UConn trailing Yale 2-1. Michalowski winds, throws fastball outside, ball 1.
Take a pitch to you, Doug. Let him come in there, Doug. Let him bring it into you now.
So the hot bat of Doug Elliott so far today has been stifled by the Yale pitching corps. Slider catches the outside corner, strike 2 called. Nice pitch by Michalowski as he had Elliott leaning backwards. Outfield at a medium depth and slightly shifted around toward the left side for Elliott as Doug takes a fastball outside for ball 2, 2-2. And in the on-deck circle is Jimmy Considine, the third baseman. Michalowski leans in, gets his sign, winds and throws. High pop-up in the infield. And here's the maypole dance. Costello, the first baseman, calling off the second baseman, and he makes the catch on the dirt part of the infield. So 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th inning, and Jimmy Considine at the plate. Considine today is 0 for 1, grounded out to second and walked in the 3rd inning. Considine digs in, 2 outs, nobody on, bottom of the 6th, no threat riding. Michalowski's first pitch is a fastball outside, ball 1. No wind at all to speak of right now as Michalowski throws a curveball that caught the outside corner. Apparently from here it looked to be up in Considine's eyes, but it was called a strike. 1-1 on Jimmy Considine. On deck, Joe Vincente, who's had a very rough go of it in the game and all year so far. Fastball grounded right past the third baseman, right under his legs, into left field, and Considine is on. That'll be scored an error undoubtedly on the third baseman, the second Yale error of the game.
It's also Brian O'Connor's second error of the game. and he's been having a bit of a tough luck when the balls have come to him.
Ball was hit hard, but right at it, and he should have handled it. So UConn has a runner on first with 2 outs, and Joe Vincente at the plate. Vincente today is 0 for 2 with a ground out and a strikeout. Considine takes a short lead off first. Michalowski checks, throws, and Vincente takes a curveball outside, ball 1.
The last time Vincente was up, he struck out with men on first and third in a very good scoring opportunity for the Huskies. So Vincente's been having a bit of tough luck. He came into the game batting 100, and he is now 0 for 2 today.
Long drive, left field, back there in left fielder Tefft near the fence. Has room though, comes in now and makes the catch right in front of the fence. So Vincente just caught that one a little on the underside. So no runs, no hits, 1 error, and 1 left for UConn. After 6-4, the score, Yale 2, UConn 1. We'll be back right after this.
And up to the plate is Jerry Harrington, number 2, to face Mark Winters. First couple times up for Harrington, he fouled out to the first baseman and grounded out to the first baseman. And the first baseman flipped over to Winters to retire him. So twice he's hit the ball to the right side as Harrington has a very close stance. The count on him, 1 ball, 1 strike. Called strike 1. 1 and 2, 1 and 1. The scoreboard's a little screwed up. The count has now gone to 2 and 1. And so I assume that's correct. Jerry Harrington, 2 balls, 1 strike. Winters throws a curveball that bounces in front of the plate, 3 and 1. And Harrington is up ahead of the count.
I believe it's 2 and 1, Harold, as the scoreboard has finally righted itself.
Corrected itself.
Whatever.
And there's the pitch just fouled off and out of play. Okay, we'll go by you. It's 2 and 2. Harrington 0 for 2 today. Winters pitching pretty well since the first inning. First inning he led up a 2-run homer to Rod Darling. But since then it's been all gooseballs for the Yale Bulldogs. There's a called strike 3 for Harrington.
Now batting the catcher, number 21.
And now batting will be Tom Kokoska, who came up with a couple of pass balls as a catcher, and he is 0 for 2 today. First pitch to him, swung on and popped up in the infield. Going up for it is Jim Constantine. He's going to call for it in foul territory, and he makes the catch. So there's quickly 2 away for the Yale Bulldogs.
Winters pitching a very good game. He's only had 2 rough innings. The first when he gave up the 2 runs. And the last inning when he pitched out of the first and third jam.
Brian O'Connor is now sent up to the plate. He was 0 for 2 thus far today. He grounded out and flew out to center field. The first pitch is curveball into the dirt, ball 1. O'Connor playing third base. He has had some tough luck into the field as he has made 2 errors. 1 on a throw and 1 on a catch. And there's his next pitch in, strike 1. 1 ball and 1 strike. For Yale, it's been 2 runs on 2 hits and 2 errors. For the Huskies, 1 run on 1 hit and no errors. The 1-1 pitch in the third again, 2 and 1. The 2-1 pitch swung on to the right side, picking it up will be Mike Johnson, second baseman, flipping it over to Tommy Cabalbo, and that's the inning. So, there are no runs, no hits, no errors, and none left. There's a 1-2-3 quick inning for Connecticut, and the score at the end of 6.5 innings of play, Yale 2, Connecticut 1. Well, we're in the 7th inning stretch here, and the game has been going on quite well for the Yale Bulldogs, but they haven't been able to get many men on base since the first inning of play. The first inning, of course, we'll recap some of the scoring. Deanna led it off with a walk. He was sacrificed to second by Dylan Costello, the first baseman, and Ron Darling took the first pitch up to him and sent it over everything in left field. And those are all the runs accounted for the Bulldogs. They've had a few other minor threats. They had a walk-on in the third inning, and last inning, the 6th inning, they had a leadoff, a double with 1 away to Ron Darling, his second hit of the game, and Dufek walked, but Steve Harrington grounded into a 6-4-3 double play. It was Constantine to Johnson to Capaldo, and that ended that inning of that threat. For the Huskies, they've had 1 run, and that was on the only base hit, towering home run by Mike Panciera off Mark Michalowski, the first batter that Michalowski faced, sent it over the fence, and that's all the Huskies. They had a few other minor threats. In the fourth inning, they had runners on first and third, and Vincente struck out. And last inning, they had a man on first base, 1 out, and they sent a fly ball all the way to the wall when they was picked up and caught by Joe Dufek. We have a bit of a change in the pitching alignments for Yale. The third pitching change of the game. Ron Darling is coming into the pitch to try to save this game for Joe Benanto's troops. And we'll try to see who else is coming in and switching over. Darling was playing right field, but they've sent in a new right fielder, Dan Costello, and playing first base is Steve Harrington. So Harrington is moving away from the DH spot to play first base. And Costello goes out to right field. So everyone, I guess, will still be playing their main positions, except that pitching will be Ron Darling. And Darling will be facing the first batter of the inning, Mike Panciera. And Panciera greeted the last new pitcher he faced with a home run, and I'm sure he'd like to do that now, but Darling is a very tough pitcher. His record is 4 wins and 1 loss. That is this year. Last year, his record was 3-2, with the best ERA on the UL staff with 3.09. So Darling is a very tough cookie to face. He is a sophomore out of Millbury, Massachusetts, who went to school at St. John's High School. We'd like to remind you again, UConn Quinnipiac Special Olympics will be held next Saturday, April 12th, from 10 a.m. to 2:30 at the Student Union Mall Field and the Field House. The participants are from the Mansfield Training School, so if you want a very good day of Special Olympics, you'll see a lot of talented young people there, and it'll be a lot of fun for you, and it'll be sure be a lot of fun for them. April 12th from 10 o'clock to 2:30. The first 2 pitches to Mike Panciera were both balls from Ron Darling. The count is up to 2-0. Darling checks in, winds, and delivers. And called on the inside corner. Strike one. That looked a little low. And the fans are getting on umpire Roger LaFrance's case about that last pitch. 2-1 to Mike Panciera.
All 3 pitches have been low, as Darling looks to be a low ball pitcher.
The 2-1 pitch. Inside, ball 2. Excuse me, ball 3. 3-1. And the 3-1 pitch to Panciera. Call, strike 2. So the count goes full, 3-2. Panciera steps out of the box. Takes a few swings. Now steps back in. Darling set and ready for him. Checks the sign, winds up, and delivers the payoff pitch. Swung on a ground ball, hit sharply with the right side. George Harrington scoops it up and throws over the first baseman for 1 down. So that is going to bring up the next batter, Tally Noble. Noble is 0 for 1 today. He is walked the first time up, went to second on a pass ball, and got up his second time and hit a ground ball to the third baseman, Brian O'Connor, who threw it low into the dirt and got out on an error. So Noble's been up twice and has been on base twice. First pitch to him, high, ball 1. Darling, mostly a fastball pitcher. Next pitch, ground to the right side again. Jerry Harrington scoops it up one more time, throws over for the second out. So 2 balls to Jerry Harrington. He handles both of them, and there's 2 away for the Huskies. Both Huskies could not get around on Darling's fastball.
But both Huskies hit the ball very sharply, which may be an indication that Darling's fastball doesn't move that much. They can see it very well, but they can't quite get around on it.
And that's going to bring up a pinch hitter for the Huskies. And we'll get that name for you right now. It's going to be number 26 for the Huskies, Dave Peterson. This is the first time we're seeing him. He's a deep fly ball left center, but coming up with it will be the left fielder Joe Dufek to make the last out. He was batting for Kevin Trahan, and that's going to be the side. So 1, 2, 3. Back at J.O. Christian Field, we're at the top of the 8th inning. For Yale will be Bob Brook, Rich Deanna, and Don Costello to face Mark Winters. The first pitch to Brook is a high fly ball to left field, and can't be rendered is John Gallick, and he makes the play. So one pitch to Brook and one away in the top of the 8th. And Rich Diane is coming up. He's 0 for 2 with a walk and 2 strikeouts. And he scored the first Yale run back in the first inning on the home run by Ron Darling. And Peterson, who was into the game last inning as a pinch hitter, will remain into the game playing right field in for Kevin Trahan. First pitch to Diana, high ball 1. Winters checking the sign. Diana calling timeout, setting up around home plate. Winters winds, delivers, and it's a pop fly. It's going to fall in probably for a base hit. Racing over his 2 outfielders, but he's going to fall in front of him. And Diana gets his first hit of the game, a base hit to right center. And that's going to bring up Dan Costello. Costello 0 for 1 with a ground out in the 6th inning. He's also walked and sacrificed. Costello, a left-handed hitting batter who hails from Uncasville, Connecticut. Uncasville, sorry. Went to St. Bernard High School. Or was that St. Bernard? First pitch to him, outside ball, called strike 1. It was a curveball, just nipped the corner for strike 1. Costello back up to the plate. Winters checking the runner at first. He's going to pick him off, but Deanna gets back as fast as he can. No balls, 1 strike. And again he tries to get him at first base. And again Diana gets back. Winters checks over again. Costello called strike 2. As Capallo is charging in looking for the bunt. As Benanto is up and standing in the Yale dugout. Trying to get something stirring for the Bulldogs. They're on a 1-run lead here in the top of the 8th. Next pitch, curveball high, ball 1. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out. Here in the top of the 8th. Running on first base, Rich Diana, and batting is Dan Costello. The 1-2 pitch, ground ball to the right side. Coming up with his Capallo, beautiful play. He's going to go to second and tally Noble. And they're going to call it safe. They're going to say Noble was off the bag. And while Noble was arguing, the runner Diana is looking to go to third, but he comes back. It was a perfect play by the first baseman Tommy Capallo, but Noble cannot believe it at all. There's going to be an error somewhere charged along the line. We'll see who they're going to give it to, but the umpire has ruled a runner safe at second. That's going to be a very big break for the Bulldogs as it puts runners on first and second with 1 out. And we'll see who they're going to give that error to.
No, stay up out there. Don't let
And Andy Baylock's now out there arguing. And he's looking to see what the heck he could do about it, but there's absolutely nothing he could do. Frank Bergen has called the runner safe. And we still haven't got any indication of who that error is going to be on, if they're going to charge an error. Can't see if they're going to charge anything but an error. They're tacking up a base hit, but that's surely not correct.
If they charge an error, it would have to be to the shortstop, Tally Noble, for coming off the bag, taking his foot off the bag as the throw is there. And apparently he just dragged the foot off the base.
I can't believe they're tacking up a base hit. That's utterly ridiculous. But that's exactly what they have up there. There's a fielder's choice, nonetheless. And there's men on first and second. And coming up is Darling. He grounds one and tally over. Nobody second on the first for the double play. So charge that one 6-4-3. And the Huskies get out of it. So there was no runs on 1 base hit. There were 1 error somewhere along the line and 1 left on. The score at the end of 7.5 innings of play, Yale 2, Connecticut 1.
Here are some shopping suggestions from Dairy Council's Nutrition Files. The high cost of living and eating is no joking matter. One way to deal with it is to think more about nutrition before you make your weekly purchases. A shopping list is a must. It helps you check your priorities and give you the time to use the 4 food groups as your guide. Include meat or eggs, cheese, dried peas and beans, milk and dairy products, vegetables and fruits, and whole grain products such as crackers, breads, cereals, and pastas. Then double-check the extras, the sugars, snacks, oils, soft drinks. These actually make up a fourth of some budgets. They can be highly caloric, expensive, and in short, they can be unnecessary. This public service announcement is from the New England Dairy and Food Council and WHUS.
When you get the scoring, it's going to be E3. We're going to enter to Tommy Capaldo for his throw with Tally Noble, taking Noble off the bag. And the scoreboard still hasn't corrected it, but there has been an error, and there's only 3 Yale base hits, so the scoreboard should read for Yale 2 runs on 3 hits and 2 errors, for Connecticut 1 run on 1 hit and 1 error. We are now in the bottom of the 8th inning. It will be John Gallick, Mike Johnson, and Tommy Capaldo up for the Huskies, trying to get on board. They're going to try to get something going here. They're down by 1 run, and they have 2 innings to go to try to pull this game out. They came back versus Iona in the 7th inning, but they're going to have to try to do it here in the 8th versus Yale's tough right-hander Ron Darling. First pitch to Gallick, outside, ball 1.
Well, UConn's got the men that they want up there, the number 2, 3, 4 hitters in this inning, and 5, 6, 7 in the next inning.
And Darling's second pitch, inside, ball 2. For Michalowski, he pitched 2 innings. He let up 1 hit, struck out 2, and allowed 1 run, a home run to Mike Panciera. And they're trying to get on Darling's case. They're trying to, the fans around here are trying to get him going, trying to loosen him up, trying to make him make a mistake. And here's a 2-0 pitch, and ball 3. 3-0 to Gallick. Gallick so far today is 0 for 2 with a walk. Came into the game batting a high 300, 371. And he should be taking here. Here's a 3-0 pitch, across for a strike, 3-1.
Let's try to pull it all together now.
Darling checking the side, winds up and delivers. Call ball 4, and the Huskies have their first run line of the inning. And up to the plate will be Mike Johnson, and we can surely look for him to butt with no outs and a runner on first base.
Second baseman, number 5, Mike Johnson.
Johnson on the day is 0 for 2, and he was hit by a pitch. He was left on third base back in the 4th inning on a big scoring opportunity. And Darling checks the runner at first, throws back, and chases back John Gallick.
The sacrifice would seem to be the play in order here with a lefty following Tom Capaldo.
And it was a sacrifice, but it was done very poorly as he popped out to Darling, and Mike Johnson again does not come through. And it seems like the Huskies are getting killed on the fundamentals. If they put through a sacrifice once before, they would have another runner in scoring position. But here, a pop out to the pitcher by Mike Johnson erases a chance for a scoring opportunity to put a runner in scoring position. And instead, Tommy Capaldo will come up with 1 runner and a guy on first base. The first pitch to Capaldo, high, ball 1. Capaldo is the only lefty in the Husky lineup. And the first lefty that Darling's going to have to face. Another pitch, ball low, 2-0. It's only been 4 hits this game. 2 of them have been home runs, 1 on each side. One by Ron Darling, the pitcher, who's in there right now, and the other by Mike Panciera, who accounts for the only Husky run. Checking runner first, he gets back in time. Will the Huskies take a chance? They have to get that runner into the scoring position. Will they let Gallick try to steal second base off the catcher, Tom Kokoska, and he's going to go, and there's a pitch fouled off and back out of play. I called it correctly, but unfortunately, there was a hit and run by Capaldo, and he couldn't get it into fair territory, and the runner's going to have to come back to first base. The count, 2 balls and 1 strike, 1 out, and Gallick was looking to run.
Good play selection there. They like to stay out of a double play so they can have their big man Doug Elliott come up next with at least 1 runner on base.
Here's the 2-1 pitch again, swung on, another hit and run. This time it just goes foul on the right side, and Gallick again will have to return. The count goes to 2-2. What would you do here? Would you try to steal one more time? I'm sure the hit and run won't be on, but if you try to steal,
I think I would. They have to stay out of a double play. Of course, you can't have a hit and run with 2 strikes on the batter, but you got to get that man at second base. You got to stay out of a double play. You'd like to have Doug Elliott up there with a duck or two on the pond.
Capalbo's 0 for 3 today. Again, hit by that pitch, and he's going to go to first base in a big break for the Huskies. Capalbo gets hit. Tom Pike, the trainer, checking to see if he was okay, but Capalbo just shrugs it off and runs up to first base. He was hit on the elbow, and that's the second hit batsman that Bulldog pitchers have thrown today. They've already hit earlier in the day Mike Johnson. And this is the second hit batter, and John Gallick goes up and bounces on the hits batsman.
And we got an ideal situation for the Huskies now. Doug Elliott, who came into the game batting .615, has the tying run on second and the potential go-ahead run on first. We only one up.
He's 0 for 3. We're not sure officially what there's a strike one call on him, but he must have a batting streak of some sort. Right now he's 0 for 3. He hasn't had a hit today. He must have some semblance of a batting streak when you're batting .615. And I know he's got a hit in all the games up north, but down south we're not sure exactly where he let out. Next pitch called strike 2. 0-2 on Doug Elliott. 1 out. Runners on first and second for the Huskies. John Gallick on second. Tommy Capalbo on first. And Elliott, who leads all Huskies in RBIs with 9 in 10 games, is up to the plate. Yale's best pitcher versus the Huskies' best hitter, and here's the 0-2 pitch. High, ball 1. Darling's fastball popped right in there. He's really throwing with some velocity. On deck, Jim Considine. Considine is 0 for 2, but he's been on base twice, one via the walk and one on an error. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Elliott, outside, ball 2. He was looking to protect the plate on that one, almost went after it. There's a wide open hole between the first baseman and the second baseman, and a little bit of a hole between left and center field. As you're all playing them straight away, but the pull on the left field side. Here's a 2-2 pitch, slow ball 3, and one more pitch could either be 2 outs or the base is loaded, depending on what it is. It's a full count. With 1 away, John Gallick on second, Tommy Capalbo on first, and the other out was a Mike Johnson attempt at a sacrifice where he popped up to Ron Darling. And that could loom big in the aftermath of this game if it's a 1-run difference. 3-2, 2 men on, 1 out, and here's the pitch. Called strike 3, and Doug Elliott goes down without swinging, and Darling gets out of a bit of a jam right there with UConn's best player up. That's going to bring up Jim Considine, and Andy Baylock wants to talk to Considine. Elliott did not even swing, and that's a mortal sin for batters, especially with men on base, not to swing and get a called third strike.
Tough pitch 2-on-3 into a fastball high and away. Even if he had swung, it would have been tough to get some meat on the ball.
Could have tried to foul off and play with it, but then that's kind of tough to do also. 2 outs, Jimmy Considine up, 2 men on for the Huskies. We're in the bottom. Time is running out for them. They're down 2-1 to the Yale Bulldogs. First pitch, ball 1. Yale's best pitcher on the mound, Ron Darling. And he's been doing a fine job in 2 innings of relief. He has walked 1 and struck out 1. He's also hit 1. And a timeout by an umpire. Jim Considine wants to think it over a little bit at the plate.
Make him think.
Darling working from the stretch position, men on first and second. The wind blowing out to left center field, and it's blowing out pretty heavily. If Considine can get that ball up, the wind might be able to take it away. 1-0 pitch, swung on, fouled on a play. Considine trying to get some meat on that. He leads the Huskies in home runs with 2, and also has 5 RBIs at junior out of Torrington, Connecticut.
That was his pitch, a fastball high on his side. He was waiting for it, and he had a big rip at it. Just missed it.
Considine, a right-handed hitting batter. On deck, Joe Vincente. Vincente has already run out 2 batters left on base 1 inning. Strike. That was high, but Considine can't believe it. He called strike 2, 1 ball, 2 strikes, and the umpire is showing his inconsistency in this inning.
He's the one that's short.
And the fans are really letting the umpire have it there. Behind the plate umpire, Roger LaFrance. is getting it this afternoon. The Huskies are losing 2-1 in the bottom of the 8th. Considine steps back in. Dowling checking out the signs. On second base is John Gallick. At first, Tommy Capalbo. Capalbo was hit by a pitch. Gallick walked. 2 free passes for the Huskies. And here's the pitch. Called ball. 2-2. Almost the same place as the other one was. You don't know what the umpire is going to call.
And that makes it very tough on the hitter. He doesn't know what the umpire's strike zone is. It keeps changing from inning to inning, and that makes it all the tougher on Jimmy Considine and the other batters.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 on, 2 out. Yale 2, Connecticut 1, and here's the pitch. Low, ball 3. 3-2, and so the runners will be running on this pitch with 2 outs.
Big pitch, biggest pitch of the ball game right here.
It probably is. If Considine can get a base hit, the runner from first could score, but if Considine makes it out, the Huskies again will go down, leaving a lot of men on base. They've left on 6 unofficially so far. And we have 2 on right now.
Come on, pitch, right up there, I'm gonna shit.
3-2, 2 outs. Runners on first and second, the runners are off. Here's the pitch, swung in, it's a pop fly to right center field. Coming in on it is Rich Diana, and he will make a basket catch to end the inning and the side for the Huskies. So there was no runs, no hits, there were no errors, and 2 left on base. And the score at the end of 8 full innings of play, it's Yale 2, Connecticut 1.
Top of the 9th inning, Yale still clinging to a 2-1 lead. 2 runs, 3 hits, 2 errors for Yale, 1 run, 1 hit, and 1 error for the Huskies. 19, Joe Dufek, the number 4 batter in the order for Yale. A left fielder takes a ball from Mark Winters. And should the game end with this score, it would be a shame because Winters has really pitched himself a fine ball game. The 1-0 pitch is grounded right back to Winters, takes a few steps, and lobs over to Capalbo at first. And Dufek is out, scored 1-3. Winters throws another 59-foot curveball that bounces past Doug Elliott, and the count goes to 1-0. Steve Harrington will be followed by his brother Jerry Harrington, the second baseman, the number 6 man in the order. Fastball swung on and missed, strike 1. 1-1. Steve Harrington. When the Huskies come up in the bottom of the 9th, they'll have their 7, 8, and 9 batters, Vincente, Panciera, and Noble. Fastball, the curveball is low and outside ball 2.
So quick, and fly so high, and it's not jump above it. Jump over the ball.
Mark Winters, fastball, outside corner, strike 2 called as Harrington got caught looking there. Nice pitch by the tall lefty. 2-2, and 1 out, top of the 9th inning. Yale still has a 2-1 lead. Slow curveball swung on and fouled, and back at home plate, out of play. And the count holds at 2-2. Shadows lengthening here as time grows short and it grows a little colder here at J.L. Christian Field. 2-2 pitch, fastball just high, ball 3. Count runs full on Steve Harrington with brother Jerry Harrington on deck. Winters throws 3-2. Up high and inside, ball 4. So Steve Harrington draws a walk from Winters. Unofficially, that is his 5th walk of the day. So Yale has a runner on first with 1 out, and Jerry Harrington, the second baseman, at the plate. Jerry Harrington today is 0 for 3. Grounded out twice and struck out swinging in the 7th inning. First pitch is low inside, gets past Elliott toward the UCONN dugout. Down to second goes Steve Harrington, takes the turn and holds there. As I'm sure that one will be scored a wild pitch, as Mark Winters' curveball once again did not reach home plate. And that puts the Yale runner in scoring position with 1 out. And 1 run in a game like this could be awfully, awfully big. Steve Harrington on second, Jerry Harrington at the plate, 1 out. And kind of 1 fastball swung on and missed, strike 1. On deck, the catcher, Tom Kokoska. Winters checks the runner, winds and throws fastball up high, almost got past Doug Elliott. And the count runs to 2-1. Winters cannot afford to let Yale score anymore. And the wind has picked up and turned around now. It's going out toward left field. 2-1 pitch. Fastball fouled and back at home plate, going out of play. And the count evens up at 2-2. Jerry Harrington digging in at the plate, has a count of 2-2, 1 out, and Steve Harrington leading off second. Here's the pitch, swung on and missed, strike 3, fastball got it right by him. And that is Winter's 6th strikeout, I believe, 6th or 7th. 7 strikeouts.
Let's take this time to thank Rich Stevens for letting us cancel him today. He's supposed to have a rock show from 3 to 6, and stay tuned next week. You'll hear Rich Stevens with his all-time good rock and roll.
About another Tom Kokoska, 0 for 3 with a strikeout, a ground out, and a force out. Make it 0 for 2, 0 for 3. He takes a strike on the outside corner. As Yale has only garnered 3 hits off of Mark Winters. Unfortunately, UConn has only 1 hit off the 3 Yale pitchers. 0-1 pitch, curveball, catches the inside corner nicely, strike 2 called. Kokoska, the number 7 hitter in the Yale lineup. On deck is Brian O'Connor. Steve Harrington is still on second base. The windup and the pitch, curveball, he wasted that one. It's up high, and the count goes to 1-2. Big runner on second base, Steve Harrington. If Yale could score him, that would make things look a lot different. Here's the pitch, fastball up high again, ball 2. Winters, at least in this inning, is starting to come up with his fastball as well. So he may be tiring. He's pitched 9 innings. 2-2 pitch. Curveball popped up in foul territory. Elliott may have a play back near the fence. He makes the catch right in front of the backstop. So no runs, no hits. Rather 1 hit, no errors, and 1 big runner left on second base. So after 8.5 innings, the score, Yale 2, UConn 1. We'll be back with the bottom of the 9th right after this.
Harold Darak along with Steve Tefft were in the bottom of the 9th to score Yale 2, Connecticut 1. Let's pause 5 seconds for station identification. You're listening to UConn Husky Baseball from J.O. Christian Field in Storrs.
Gotta have base runners, Michael.
Last call for the Huskies, bottom of the 9th inning. They need 1 run to tie, 2 to win, and they're sending the number 7, 8, 9 hitters to face Ron Darling. Joe Vincente leads off. He has not had a very good day, 0 for 3 with a strikeout in a very big situation in the 4th inning. Darling winds and throws low inside, ball 1. As Vincente has yet to break his slump. He came into the game batting 100. He should be under that now. Darling winds, throws just low under the knees, ball 2. On deck, Mike Panciera. He's responsible for the only hit and run of the game for the Huskies. His home run gave them their 1 run. Fastball catches the knees. Check that. It was called a ball. It looked good from here, but the count goes to 3-0. So Ron Darling is within 1 pitch of putting the tying run on first base. Here's a 3-0 pitch. Right in there, strike 1 called. That looked to be in the same place that the other pitch was, but this time, according to the umpire Roger LaFrance, it was a strike. Darling winds, throws 3-1, strike 2 called as Vincente is waiting out a walk. But he can't afford to wait anymore now because the count is full. Here's the pitch. A little looper into right field. Back goes second baseman Harrington. In comes the right fielder Costello. Costello calls him off and makes the catch in medium depth right field. So 1 out. And the Huskies are down to 2 outs. Mike Panciera, the DH, the number 8 hitter in the order. He homered earlier in the game. He is also grounded out and struck out. So he's 1 for 3 officially. 1 out, bottom of the 9th inning. Yale leading 2-1. They scored their 2 runs in the first inning on a 2-run home run by the pitcher, Ron Darling. And Darling throws a curveball outside, ball 1. UConn scored their lone run in the 5th inning on the home run by the man at the plate right now, Mike Panciera. Darling lines, throws, fastball right down the middle, strike 1 called.
If you remember in the beginning of the game, Joe Bonanto said his problems were in pitching. Well, it doesn't look like that today. They've only let up 1 hit and 1 run in 8 1/3 innings.
Darling lines, throws, fastball grounded foul outside of first base toward the Yale dugout. And Mike Panciera is in the hole, 1 and 2. On deck, Tally Noble. Ron Darling would stand to be the winner should he get these last 2 outs. Fastball grounded to a shortstop, right through the legs of the shortstop. Bob Brook into left center field, and Panciera is on. That'll be an error all the way. The 4-error on Yale, and UConn has the tying run on first with 1 out. Should have been 2 outs, nobody on, but that hard hit ground ball went right through the shortstop's legs.
The shortstop, number 4, Tally Noble.
And here's Tally Noble. Tally on the day is 0 for 2 with a walk. So Tally represents the potential winning run, should he do anything here. 1 out, bottom of the 9th, UConn trailing by a run with 1 runner on base. And 1 out. Darling throws over there, and Panciera gets back. Darling checks, winds, throws inside with the fastball, ball 1. On deck is Doug Peterson, who pinch hit for Kevin Trahan in the 7th inning and stayed in to play right field. Fastball is inside again, ball 2, 2-0, as Darling has lost momentary control of his pitching control. 2-0, checks the runner, winds, throws up high, ball 3. 3-0, and 1 more ball will put the winning run on first and the tying run on second in scoring position. 3-0 pitch, strike 1 called right down the middle, as Noble was taking all the way, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him taking here. 3-1, now Darling turns and throws to first. Back easily is Mike Panciera.
Just think about that man on first, 7.
Darling leans in, gets the sign, stretches and throws. Ground ball up the middle. Taken by the second baseman Harrington. Tags second with the ball. Throws to first, not in time, as they could not turn over the double play. A good play by the second baseman Jerry Harrington. Dove, caught the ball, tagged the bag while on his stomach with the ball. Got up and tried to make the throw to first, but it was not in time. But he saved a potential disaster situation for Yale right there. So instead of 1 out and men on first and second, there are 2 outs. And Tally Noble is on first, and UConn is down to their last out. Doug Peterson, who pinch hit for Kevin Trahan in the 7th inning. And I believe he flied out then. Flied out to the left fielder. Check that. His name is David Peterson, Harold Darak tells me. Or whatever, he's up there with the last UConn hope. Pitch. Fastball outside, ball 1. Tally Noble on first, 2 outs. He's the tying run as UConn trails Yale 2-1 in the bottom of the 9th inning. Ron Darling stretches, pitches. Curveball right down the middle, strike 1 called.
Come on, Dave.
Ron Darling within 1 out of getting his 5th win of the year against only 1 loss. Darling sets, checks the runner, throws, fastball outside, ball 2, 2-1 on Dave Peterson. On deck should he get a chance is left fielder John Gallick.
Come on, Dave.
Peterson digs in. He's a left-handed hitter. And now Darling throws over to first to keep Noble close.
Come on, David. Come on, buddy. Come on, 2-6. What do you say, Dave? Come on.
Darling leans in, gets his sign from catcher Kokoska. Winds, throws, curveball, gets the inside corner, strike 2 called, and Peterson is kicking on the call. 2-2, and UConn is down to their last strike.
Come on, Dave. You got me a stick up there, Dave.
Peterson digs in. Darling checks Noble off first. Winds, throws, high foul and back at home plate. The catcher can't find it. Now he's coming back, and this ball's going to be out of play. Well beyond the backstop, so we'll go 1 more pitch at least. Count remains at 2-2 on Dave Peterson. Off first, Noble. Now Darling throws over there again, leisurely, as Noble is not taking that big a lead, and he gets back easily. Darling leans in, 2 outs, 2 strikes. Here's the pitch. Strike 3 called. Curveball caught the outside corner, and that's the ball game. So Ron Darling pitches out of a minor jam in the bottom of the 9th inning, and Yale holds on to beat UConn 2-1. And we'll be back to wrap it up right after this.
This is Harold Darak back at Yale Christian Field. Once again, the final score, Yale 2, Connecticut 1. I have here with me for my post-game show interview Ron Darling, who was the star of Yale both in hitting and in pitching. And congratulations, Ron, you played a fine game.
Thank you very much.
Now, before the game, you heard a lot about Mark Winters. He's the star pitcher for Connecticut. Came in the game with a 2-1 record and a 1.23 ERA. The first time you saw him, you didn't even wait for one pitch before you swung about it. What did you hear about him before the game?
Well, I heard that he had a great curveball, and I knew his first 2 hitters for our team, he threw straight fastballs, so I was looking for a fastball the first pitch because, the second time I was up, I struck out on 3 curveballs, so I knew he had a great curveball. I wanted to jump on his fastball.
You're the leading hitter of the team. You're also the leading pitcher. How do you feel about playing this dual role thing for the Yale Bulldogs?
Well, I did the same thing last year. I relief pitched, but this year I'm starting, so it's not so bad. I can concentrate more on my hitting. I'm playing right field. And last year I played shortstop, so I can concentrate more on my hitting out in the outfield instead of in the infield.
Your record this year pitching is 4-1, but today you came in as a reliever. How do you feel coming in? You're starting all along, and all of a sudden you come in and have to relieve a game.
Well, I'm usually not a great reliever. I'm a better starter, but we have league games this weekend, so our coach didn't want to pitch all our 3 starters too many innings, so we wanted to go 3-3-3. But it was good. I didn't mind relieving. It was good. I got some work for this Friday against Pennsylvania.
You had some problems there in the last 2 innings. You had John Garrick walking and Tommy Capaldo hit with a pitch. Then you had to come in with the 2 toughest Husky players, Doug Elliott and Jim Considine in that 8th inning. What did you feel coming in there?
I was trying to throw the ball low, and I was keeping it low, but the ump was a high ball ump. So I didn't really want to walk them because I didn't want to face their 2 great hitters. But I was just lucky I got out of it. I kept the ball outside, and they just popped it up.
Okay, your record's up to 7 wins and 3 losses, probably one of the best records Yale's ever come out to. How do you feel about your chances for the rest of the season?
I think we have a young team, and hopefully we'll get more experience as the year goes on. But I think we're looking for a 20-win season, hopefully.
Well, congratulations. You played a great game today, Ron, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Once again, the final score was Yale 2, Connecticut 1. Thanks for listening to UConn Husky baseball action on WHUS. Our next broadcast will be tomorrow, April 2nd, and the Huskies will take on the Army Cadets at West Point, and the game will begin at 2:55. Our technical directors for today's game has been Andy Young. So for Andy Young and Steve Tefft, this is Harold Darak saying so long from Yale Christian Field, reminding you that once again, the final score, Yale 2, Connecticut 1.